Hello, welcome back to Madrona's Pulse Teachings. I am Iris, and I thought that I would perhaps start doing kind of overviews of the astrological seasons as we come into them. So, welcome to Pisces season. This is quite a Pisces season. It's always quite a Pisces season. It's our final sign of the zodiac before we enter into the equinox in March when that sun moves into Aries. And this shift from Pisces season to Aries season is pretty big this year. So I am going to talk about this generally. I'm going to talk about Pisces season generally. And then I'm also going to go through the houses based on where you have Pisces in your chart. So if you're still new to astrology, you can look at your chart. You can see where the Pisces glyph is. It looks like this. And then you're going to listen to the timestamps below are for the houses. So you could absolutely have Pisces falling in two houses. It could be in your 12th house and your first house if you're a Pisces rising. And you could also possibly have it in three houses. Okay, so this is just to support folks a little bit more because I am aware that there is a lot going on for humans to negotiate these days. And of course, if you want even more support, you can come check out what we get up to on Patreon. The link is below. There's different ways of working with me there. And let's begin Pisces season. So this is as our sun has entered into Pisces. As I said, the final sign of the zodiac, and we are in water. We are in deep water. So the sun being in Pisces, this shows in that transiting sun how for all of us, this is where there wants to be a lot of energy, and this is how our vitality really wants to be aligned during this time. And so, there's quite a bit of energy in Pisces right now. We've got Mercury, we've also got Saturn, and we're going to have, in this Pisces season, we're going to have Mars station direct in Cancer. We're going to have Venus station retrograde in Aries. We're going to have, of course, our Pisces new moon, and that's going to bring us into eclipse season, and then we're going to have our first eclipse of eclipse season, which is going to be a lunar eclipse. That moon is going to be in Virgo, and that is going to have our sun in Pisces, of course, and that is going to be on March 14th. And, Pisces is such beautiful energy, and it's also very particular energy. And so just knowing that we're in Pisces season, this means that our energy, part of our drive, part of how we want to actualize ourselves, it needs to come into the Piscean ways of meaning making. And that is going with the flow. That is ideally coming into a focus on our spiritual path, a focus on our connection to the divine source, to the divine mystery, and trusting. Pisces demands that we do not lead with a strong ego force of desire. Pisces actually demands that we surrender that. And this is not easy for a lot of us because we are absolutely in a Western mainstream world not conditioned to do this. And this is exactly what Pisces says we have to do. And this is what Pisces season says we have to do. And this is what Pisces season with a lunar eclipse says we have got to do. And there are a lot of practices that can support coming into Pisces ways of knowing, Pisces ways of making meaning and just being. And a lot of them are mediated through the arts. Pisces is a type of energy, a type of way of being that is not necessarily meant to be contained in rational thought or cognitively derived understandings of meaning making, these words I'm using in explicit linear modes of understanding. Pisces wants to be splashes of color. It wants to be nature. It is wilderness. It is deep emotions. It is the feeling that comes over us when we are listening to music and kind of go into those soundscapes that can heal. Also, if you're a musician or drumming, any of those practices, it's a time to lean into them. Absolutely journaling, especially, anything that we say, we kind of talk about under the umbrella of the expressive arts. The expressive arts are driven by one of the catchphrases there is high sensitivity, low attachment to technical skill. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned practitioner or brand new. The expressive arts are about the making contact between sensitivity and expression. They're about using form to express ourselves, and that can be wonderful for Pisces. There is no judgment to what we're writing, what we're expressing. It is just about the flow, because Pisces requires the flow. And the flow is how we get out of our own way, how we get out of that fear-driven ego, and how we start co-creating with all that is. And Pisces is all that is. It is the final sign of the zodiac. So as we move through Pisces season, we are also in an ending, because the astrological new year starts with that equinox as the sun moves into Aries. And so also knowing that Pisces is a shedding, okay? And this shedding could have a lot, because we are going to have, on the 23rd of February, we're going to have Mars station direct. That is happening in Cancer, more water energy. Then as we come into March, we're going to have Venus station retrograde. So that's a major shift. And then we are going to come into quite a lunar eclipse in the Pisces realms. We're going to have that sun in Pisces at 24 degrees. It's going to be conjunct Saturn. It's also conjunct the North Node, who's in Pisces with the South Node in Virgo. And of course, we have Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces for that eclipse. And the eclipse season, with all of that energy in Pisces, this is potentially a massive shedding and a massive beginning, a massive shedding and entrance into a new place of being, right? And I will, of course, have more videos on the eclipses as we get a little bit closer. But in this overview, just knowing that it's a lot, and we might be feeling it. And so again, if you are feeling it, Pisces is also grief. It is this complicated way in which our grief flows into collective grief, flows into the earth's grief. And part of being able to feel that for folks that have strong Pisces in their own natal charts, it is an incredible gift. And it's, as we on these human journeys know, there are a lot of gifts that come with some burdens, and feeling that grief can be one of the Pisces burdens. And as that sun moves through Pisces, and as we are feeling these sheddings, I mean, when I'm making this, Mars is moving really slowly. It's going back to the very beginning of 17 degrees. And I am feeling that. And it is, it's in Cancer. And so there is a lot of water. And the water, when water is shifting within us, again, it can't always be kind of put in a box and said, okay, that's what's going on, that's what's causing this. We just need to feel it. And so we're entering a season of just needing to feel it. And oh my gosh, the things that can be revealed to us as we're just feeling it, as we're just allowing. But it requires surrender, because when we're not surrendering, when we are still very, very heavily attached to what we think needs to happen or how it needs to look, firstly, we're not allowing Source to have its way with us, which is what part of Pisces is. We are wanting to join into creative Source, and our ego drive there separates us from it. And that separation then springs into a resistance that can cause all sorts of tension. That can come in the body, mind, it can manifest in life. And so if we're feeling that, it really is kind of, meditation is of course wonderful for Pisces season, being in nature, going on walks, again, the arts, but just slowing down and trying to go with the flow and not resisting. And if things are coming up, or if the path looks like it's being redirected, then really taking some time to be with that and see, okay, maybe my mind doesn't understand why this redirection is happening right now, but all the signs point to allowing this redirection to have, right? And we don't want to fight. We definitely don't want to fight universe when we're in Pisces season. So really trying to relax into that, go with the flow, and remembering that, Pisces is a liminal realm in which there is so much beauty, and there is that shedding, because it is the end of that kind of journey around the zodiac. And so now I'm going to talk about how this could be affecting you where you have Pisces in your charts with a little bit more focus over this next season. So if you have Pisces rising, if you have Pisces in your first house, then this is all about your identity, okay? And so Pisces is very central to how you show up in the world, how you show up to yourself, how others also perceive you. And with this shedding, again, it depends how much you have Pisces in your first house, but regardless, really coming into allowing and trusting that there might be parts of yourself that you are about to have revealed to you, to discover, that you can feel. But until this time, this particular Pisces season, there's something more that's being shown, okay? And especially if you have the 24 degrees of Pisces in your first house, where we're going to have that eclipse, where the sun will be for that eclipse, then this is very significant into your identity, into literally how you show up for yourself, how you want to show up in the world, how you want to be seen for yourself, and then of course from there how others are going to see you. But this is about your spirituality. How does that want to flow in your life in a new way? And also, how can you surrender in kind of having some expectations of yourself, so that through that surrendering you can discover parts of yourself that are beautiful and maybe complicated and do not need to be pushed away. Okay. Second house. If you have Pisces in your second house and you have some of this Pisces season or all of this Pisces season in your second house, how can you trust? End point. How can you trust in what is unfolding as the foundations of your life right now? As the sun moves through Pisces season, this is moving through your second house. Potentially you're also having the eclipse with the sun in your second house if you have 24 degrees there. The second house is our house of foundations. It's what we build our life upon. It's also our values and how we want to make money, how we want to be in relationship with others in a way that it comes from our secure sense of self. Now you've got Pisces here. The second house traditionally is aligned with Taurus. It's super rooted. It wants to be strong in its self-security. Welcome to the flowing ocean of Pisces in your second house of foundations. Foundations are about your spiritual connection. The more that you are able to trust in the unseen, the more that you are able to trust in your own intuition, and as that connects to the divine, that is going to create stronger foundations in your life. There is something with Pisces in the second house as kind of seeing in the dark and trusting and allowing that trust to create a strong foundation. I'm going back a little bit now, but as I was saying that, I was just picturing Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, which was the third one, but there's a scene in the end where he has to go across a chasm, and he has to trust, and as he does, he walks out and there's a bridge, and there's that strong foundation, but the bridge couldn't be seen to the naked eye. And that's the type of trust that is required with Pisces in the second house in your own spiritual path to take you through and to give you strong foundations. And so as the sun is moving through Pisces season, that's being activated. And so really coming into the practices that support your spiritual path and intuition is going to be central. Third house. If you have Pisces moving through your third house, you have the sun moving through there. This is your house of small communities and your house of communication. Okay, especially how you use your voice, in community, how you express yourself. there is something here as the sun moves through your third house about coming into communication that really, it comes from intuition. It comes from allowing the flow of expression to come through you. It doesn't matter if you're expressing yourself in words or image or any other medium, but there is absolutely spirit to be expressed. And so if you feel at all stuck in your life right now, if you're confused, if you're just stressed by what is, really coming into a journaling. You can journal with words, you can journal with images. It doesn't matter if you know how to draw or not, just expressing. But that could be really, really important because in Pisces season, the energy wants to flow wherever that sun is. And if it's in your third house, it wants to flow through your voice. Also, community. Okay, so it could be a lovely time to lean into communities, especially communities that align with your spirituality, whether that is something like astrology or tarot or whatever else you are into, finding those communities. Again, YouTube can be wonderful for that, but also reaching out more, seeing if there's a workshop or whatever it is. If a workshop just zings and you're like, oh my gosh, that's speaking to some part of myself, trust in that, because Pisces speaks through synchronicities and it wants to connect you to communities, and then that wants to help your voice flow. If you have Pisces in your fourth house, so this season is activating your fourth house of sense of self, your inner world, and also home and family, there could be lots of emotions coming up. The fourth house with Pisces it does go deeply into kind of deep intuition and feeling, because the fourth house is the root of the chart. And so if you have Pisces there, the root of the chart is the root of the psyche. And in this case, the root of your psyche is the collective unconscious, is divine mystery, is all that is. So as the sun is activating that, it could be a wonderful time for meditation. It could be, you could want to carve out some time alone, because with Pisces in the fourth house, even when you're alone, you're actually not alone. You're always with creative source. And spending some time with creative source could be really important. Also, trusting, going with the flow, whatever is coming up, be it in your home or family or themes of ancestry coming through, intergenerational trauma coming through, the sun moving through Pisces, especially if you have 24 degrees of Pisces in your fourth house, which is where the sun's going to be for that eclipse, and it's going to be really activating an ending and a beginning. Again, journaling and meditation could be really important. Having time to feel what is coming up and also to allow a shedding. And this could run really deep into the core of your psyche, into the core of your sense of self. And it could be incredibly transformational. It also could bring up a lot of grief. It could bring up deep emotions. And again, allowing the space. If you're someone that goes to therapy or has a therapist and stuff is coming up, you might want to do that. Just using the practices that support you, because it could be a very transformational time. Fifth house. If you have Pisces in your fifth house and that's being activated now as the sun moves through Pisces season, what are those creative practices that are calling to you? The fifth house is our house of creative self-actualization. It gets talked about in a lot of things. It gets talked about in terms of romance and children, and it includes all of that. But the core of the fifth house is our self-actualizing spirit, enacting and coming out. It's heart energy that goes out into the world, and it wants to go out over and over again. Children bring in that playful, creative spirit. Romance brings in that intoxicating creativity and spirit. And whatever, is bringing up that creative spirit, you want to lean into it. You want to lean into it during Pisces season as the sun is moving through. You absolutely might have some inspiration for creative projects. If not, just journaling, drawing, flinging paint, whatever it is, music, anything that it is, but you really want to stoke those creative fires and come into the flow, supporting yourself, potentially even sharing some of what you do so that you can kind of feel it flowing out. But, getting into the flow is super important while the sun is moving through your fifth house and really feeling that creative divine energy flowing through you and creating something. Sixth house. If you have Pisces in your sixth house and the sun is moving through your sixth house for Pisces season, this is your house of daily living. So all of those practices that I mentioned for the first 10 minutes, if you listen to the first 10 minutes, bringing those into your daily life while the sun is moving through Pisces could be really important and supportive to you, especially if you are feeling a lot right now, if you are feeling grief, if you are feeling stress. Having a daily outlet for your emotions to be given externalized form could be very important, as could meditation, whatever your own spiritual practices are, getting, coming into relationship and connection with the divine, whether that happens through meditation or drumming or walking or whatever it is for you. Having that daily practice is important. And then, of course, as the sun moves on to Aries season, seeing what wants to stick with you. Because having Pisces in your sixth house, that always wants to be the case. There wants to be connection with the divine. That's also guiding your daily rhythms, right? So especially as the sun is moving through Pisces, it can also be an opportunity to really feel into what your daily rhythms need to be. Sometimes that can not be the 9 to 5 kind of solidified routine that we get taught is the best thing for us. Astrology says, our chart says a lot of different things than what is supposedly the best thing for us. It really gets into our needs. And Pisces in the sixth house, part of going with your creative daily rhythm is important. And this season might kind of pull you into awareness of that a little bit more. And also, if you are having a lot of emotions, having those practices of journaling or whatever it is, expressing it, being in nature, on a close to daily routine. Again, routine meaning that I check in with myself, I'm flowing here, I go with this, right? And even if maybe you've got the 9 to 5 job, but there's still ways of bringing that in. Maybe it's 10 minutes. Maybe I take a break and I just flow for 10 minutes. Maybe I journal. It doesn't need to be the whole day. Working within your own limits and needs and schedules. But coming into that flow daily is really important. Seventh house. If you have Pisces in your seventh house, then for the sun in Pisces, it is activating your one-on-one relationships. This, for this Pisces season, it could be really important to have some, whoever you have. Sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's a couple friends, sometimes it's an animal, sometimes it's a therapist, sometimes it's our journal. But being able to have the one-on-one kind of experience relationships where you can just really be, where you do not need to perform, you do not need to hide yourself, you can just be. That could be really important this Pisces season. Also, those people the sun might shine some light on those people for you, and it might be someone that you don't even know that well, and they ask you to have a coffee or something, and then you might find yourself having a beautiful conversation about astrology or whatever it is. Really trusting in that, inviting that, setting intentions for that. Those one-on-one dynamics could be really heightened and important during this particular Pisces season, and just leaning into that. Also, of course, everything that's part of the seventh house is also our relationship with ourself. And in this case, with Pisces, it's your relationship with the divine. So leaning into how you are in relationship with the divine. If there are archetypes that really speak to you, especially this depends on your own seventh house, what placements you have there, but you could journal with them, you could write a letter to them, you could go for a drive with them, invite that archetype into your kind of reality because it's already there if it's in your chart. And then, of course, the sun is moving through there, Mercury's there, Saturn's there. So just being in those one-on-one relationships is going to be important this season. If you have Pisces in your 8th house, then this is a season in which there could be some beautiful sheddings. There could be some deep intuitions coming through. Now, you've got Pisces in the 8th house. This is deep. This is, the 8th house already takes us beyond the veil. Pisces is everything beyond the veil. So, of course, there could be depths of emotional realities coming up. If it's feeling overwhelming at any time, of course, reaching out to those supports you have, whether that is a therapist or a teacher or a friend or an animal or a favorite tree, whatever it is. But there really could be there could be some breakthroughs with this sun moving through Pisces in your 8th house this season, and really trusting that. Again, meditation could be really important to support this, those art practices. Some of the 8th house Pisces energy requires sometimes something like a medium of visual art or poetry. So really leaning into that, especially if you're feeling a lot of energy, that might be a signal that there's something that wants to be expressed. And so really kind of coming into that expressive practice where we let go of any idea of how it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to produce and just flow. But it could also, especially if you have 24 degrees of Pisces in your 8th house, which is where the sun's going to be for that eclipse. This is massive transformation. This is a shedding and a new beginning of a new stage in the eclipse season. So just knowing that that's coming and allowing and surrendering and getting support if and when you need it. If you have Pisces in your 9th house, this Pisces season, as the sun moves through your 9th house, this is about your worldview changing, so absolutely, if there is anything you want to learn, if something pops up in your feed or synchronicities emerge, you're like, oh, I was thinking about that. Oh, here's a workshop. You want to take that workshop. This also might be a time in which you get kind of inspired to share your own understandings, your own truths. Ultimately, especially if you have like a writing project or there's something that you've been wanting to work on, put a little love into that right now during this season. But also, especially if you have 24 degrees of Pisces in your 9th house, which is where it's going to be for that eclipse, there's a shedding of your worldview going on. There's a shedding of how you understand and see the world. And there's a new version of reality birthing for you. So that's kind of big. So allowing that to happen, allowing pieces of, how you've seen the world kind of detach and reshape and form a mosaic or just create a new reality, because there is a new reality that's forming with this particular Pisces season. 10th house, if you have Pisces in the 10th house, the sun, as it moves through Pisces, is moving through your house of vocation. So this is absolutely wanting to be inspired in your vocation, whether that is actually lined up with your work or you're thinking about other work, or you're retired and you're just thinking about what the word vocation means for you in this stage of your life. There's something that wants to merge with the divine. Pisces in the 10th house wants to be aligned to literally the word vocation, because it is a calling. It is a calling that aligns you to your path, which ultimately is the spiritual path. And so also just looking for synchronicities. If you're a little bit stuck in your work or vocation, really looking for those synchronicities, letting inspiration come. And if you're kind of imagining new routes and or you're just wanting to expand, that wants to come from either your spiritual path, your spiritual connection, or just divine energy flowing through and showing you where to go. And you want to trust that, because Pisces season is all about trusting. And so really looking for potentially what also could, if you have 24 degrees of Pisces in your chart, that's where the sun's going to be for that first eclipse, then there's also potentially a shedding happening in your 10th house of vocation, and allowing that shedding. You might not know what's coming, but if there's a shedding, that's because something's also being birthed and that energy is here. 11th house. So if you have Pisces in your 11th house, this is your house of connections. It's our interconnection to the web of all being. Yes, also social media technology that nicely represents the web, but it's where we're connected to other people, to colleagues, And it's also our higher mind connection to the web of all higher minds and all that is. It's the house of evolution, and you have Pisces here. And the sun is going through and it's activating it. And so really leaning in, especially if there are any of those kind of new communities shining, whether they're online or new connections or new opportunities coming, wanting to lean into that, wanting to also, especially as we get closer to the eclipse, there could be a birthing of a new community, of a new way of connecting to people, of a new way of connecting to people that involves your spirituality. Pisces cannot be detached, especially when we're on spiritual paths. Pisces cannot be detached from spirituality. So leaning into that, looking for the synchronicities, looking for what feels like it calls to your soul, and going for it, trying it out, connecting. Also, the 11th house is our own visions for our own life. There could be a new vision for your life birthing. And if there is, you want to give it love. You want to draw with it. You want to journal with it. You just want to cultivate love with that new vision of your life, because the eclipse is coming and the eclipse will really work with that envisioning. 12th house, final house of the zodiac. If you have Pisces in your 12th house, which is of course aligned with Pisces coming to that final spin around the zodiac, this may be a season to get quiet. This may be a season to really move within, to listen, to allow spiritual sheddings. They could be quite profound. There's going to be an eclipse with the sun at 24 degrees of Pisces, and there's going to be so much energy in that Pisces realm activated that you might have, there is potentially with this particular Pisces season, there is potential spiritual birthing underway, and that sounds wonderful and it is wonderful, but it's also not usually easy and it can bring up a lot of stuff. And so if that's coming up, you want to create the space for it to come up and shed, honor the shedding, and let it pass. Okay, there is some composting going on there into the collective ocean of all that is, and you are part of it. Definitely could be a time to lean into dream journaling, to, again, insight meditation, journeying, any art practices. But this is also really about your intuition, about letting your intuition guide you. It's very important during this Pisces season that you trust your intuition, you let it flow, and you just witness what's emerging, and also cultivating love. There, whether it's with a formal practice like a Buddhist metta practice or other types of meditations that really do cultivate love, or just journaling with love, self-love, but really encouraging that this season. And that's also going to help some of the shedding, some of the karmic shedding that could go on this Pisces season as the sun and so much else moves through Pisces in your 12th house. And with that, I'm going to leave you. Bye-bye.